Culture is referred to as the nucleus of every society. It is an umbrella term which encompasses the social behavior and norms found in human societies, as well as the knowledge, beliefs, arts, laws, customs, capabilities, and habits of the individuals in these groups. Nigeria prides itself as a multicultural society with more than 250 languages and tribes, which celebrates culture annually and which they refer to as festivals. These festivals attract both foreign and local tourists who travel far and near just to get a glimpse of these activities. With the vast attention that these cultural activities tend to get, many have claimed that they are enough to be an alternative source to the country of income, looking at how many countries have been able to harness the opportunities in them. Well, this is what we intend to discuss on this edition of the program Nigeria Today, with the topic Culture as a Panacea for Economic Growth. My name is Dennis Adigunloye. Welcome to the program. And joining us to discuss the topic, Culture as a Panacea for Economic Growth, is Gabe Onna, Chairman, Cross River State Carnival Commission. You're welcome to Nigeria Today, sir.
Good to be here. Good evening.
All right. And also joining us is Ako Otobo, Managing Director, Diplomat, Travels and Tourism Agency, and Board Member, Nigeria Association of Travel Agents, NANTA. You're also welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right. So let me come to you first. How can you describe our cultural strength in Nigeria?
Well, just like as been said, the Nigerian culture is very strong and is a very strong instrument of and for socio-economic development. Economically, Nigerian is blended with a lot of cultural potentials that, if well tapped, exploited, developed, promoted and marketed, it can contribute to the economic development of the nation, forms a crucial source of employment in the society. If you look at it, culturally, in the years past, you go to communities, you see our forefathers, our uncles, who were into one craft work or the other. And they were producing resources out of this and selling in the market. And then socially, culture blend two communities together. In fact, it is the Panacea source of two communities living together, marrying together, trading together. So it's a very strong, Nigeria has very strong instrument for that.
All right, Gabe, how well has the cultural industry actually fared in Nigeria, in your view?
Okay, truly for me, I would like to say that for the typical Nigerian, we are very creative. And our strength has remained our diversity because of the so-called, I call it so-called differences that we have been blessed with over 250 languages or communities. But therein lies our strength, because like you would know, togetherness is strength, and this has been exploited in several ways. There's this wise saying that the lines of the world are seen only in maps. The lines dividing communities are seen only in the maps. When you walk through, you don't see any lines. Again, the similarities in our cultures make it easy for us to relate. And that is why in some prefixes you find you say Africa related. Coming to exploitation of the gift of diversity through our culture, I'll say that back home here in Nigeria, we are in the lips of all our African brothers or our neighbors and in the diaspora or in the world at large, at the risk of sounding immodest. But I believe strongly that the strength of a people is how you exploit those things that are common amongst you.
All right, Ako, in terms of harnessing these strengths, are you satisfied with how things are going currently, or is there significant room for improvement in terms of promoting and harnessing culture for economic growth?
Well, to be very sincere, our cultural potentials, resources has not been thoroughly utilized, capitalized, and harnessed to the benefit and the production of, in our economic vast. It's all been, talking, but the real aspect. Because take for instance, some schools, polytechnics that tend to have department, not necessarily department of culture this or culture that, but department of we call it industrial relation, industrial chemistry, not industrial chemistry, where industrial resources, where the students are trained in one cultural skill, production or the other, do not make impact in the economy when they come out. There is no relation. Schools that have department of theater arts, still do not translate. So the impact of what it is has still not been properly harnessed, has not been properly developed, and has not been properly promoted and marketed. In fact, a lot of, from the polytechnic side, a lot of them who went to those departments, when they finish, they even feel shy, to practice what they spent 3 years, 4 years, ND, HND. And you see some of them having, creativity in this. But when you tell them, look, that thing you can develop, you can go back to your village, to your locality, and produce something in relation to what our forefathers and uncles were doing. They look at it as if they are being undermined. Everybody wants to come to the city to look for the white-collar job.
Okay, all right. Gabe, it is arguably interchangeable that culture and the tourism industry go hand in hand. If culture is fully harnessed as the country has the potential to do so, it will certainly, by definition, boost tourism in the country.
Yes.
How would you say? So you see that?
Well, truly, I've led arguments stating that culture is indeed the palm oil with which our tourism is eating. That the culture of our people, if we harness them properly, will become that platform and the conveyor to market our tourism. Why this? The culture of welcoming is a product on itself. The culture of warmth, the culture of hello, meet and greet first. Then, what the tourist dollar or naira does. The moment the tourist hits any destination or any site of interest, his naira begins to speak. How do we position to attract what they bring? And this is where we now move to the issue of next value or value addition, which is what he is saying. To take pride in what we have, to take pride in what we either studied, and realizing that we can make livelihood out of this. It is only in this part that you see a young man who is working as a front desk officer in a hotel. If you ask him, he says he's managing. You cannot consider that job managing. A credit card staff in a tour agency will tell you he's managing when you can make so much out of it. Again, a lot of time from the experience we've had here, and I am sorry to jump into the example of Cross River State, what we've done there, using this platform, changing the mindset of our people, that truly we can find this as our own oil well, changing our behavioral, attitudes to create that welcome that will attract the tourists to begin to spend his money. If you look at the raffia industry, the clay industry, where we make pots, our forebears, making pots and beads and all that, is gradually dying. And most tourists who come into this city live with so much still in their pockets because they have not been able to find what to apply or to buy with what they came with. So if we get it right, which has to do with training, if we get it right, which has to do with the right policies. As a few weeks ago, the Minister for Information and Tourism, unveiled his master plan, and his blueprint. Yeah. He's talking about reviewing the master plan in tourism in terms of inculcating in our people and the need for our young ones to begin to take interest in this subsector. And that is the only way out, because qualifications to perform in this subsector is almost zero as long as you have the meet and greet. So it's a quick win and it's a low-hanging fruit.
Okay, staying with you just briefly before we go on a break, the Calabar Carnival, no doubt this has impacted positively on the socio-economic situation in Cross River State. What can other states actually learn from this and by definition of the country as a whole?
Yes. Truly, when we decided to take on this subsector, we saw that our real strength, our competitive advantages in our culture and the meet and greet magic. Our people are laid back, but it sounds negative for business, but it's good for tourism. A tourist would like to go into a community where the people are welcoming, where the people are warm, where people feel comfortable, So, and this is what we started marketing. Yeah. Right from the time of UJSWNA, we won the Golden Gong in 1970 during the National Festival, Cultural Festival, and today that gong is in Cross River State for keeps, if you like. So the new founding fathers of the new Cross River State decided to take on this subsector, to take it to the next level. In fact, it is often said that there is nowhere else to spend Christmas than in Calabar. Every 26th, you see the people milling around the big roundabout to share, they exchange gifts, exchange food and all that. Today we have this huge project that started as a little vision that has metamorphosed into a commercial success. And what have we done? We've decided to introduce those deliberate steps that will make for a unique tourism product. Because if you jump one building block, one step, you get it all wrong. And we've decided to also engage our boys and girls through deliberate training. The facets, the value chain in this subsector is huge. And it's unimaginable. It is a whole process. It takes 12 calendar months to put that event you're seeing on the road. So bringing out people to the city streets of Calabar for 32 days with a huge effort. The final week, which we call the Power Week, is no joke. Today we are receiving over 35 countries yearly coming with organic crowd who pay their way up to Calabar to enjoy. People want to play, people want to rest, people want anything that can relax them. And this brings us to experiential tourism.
All right, we'll
thank you.
Touch on that after this break. The program is Nigeria Today. We'll pause now to get the thoughts of some Nigerians on culture as a panacea for economic growth in this Vox Pop, put together by Victoria Bayeti. We'll be right back.
Our culture should be sold out to foreigners, like invite the foreigners to see how meaningful it is and for them to invest on it. They should also teach the younger ones, inculcate the culture on them so they will be able to carry it along, and in that way they will be able to generate little income.
In this country we have different culture, and then there are certain things that are associated with certain culture. Now you find out there are different festivals in this part of the country, and during such festivals many people go to witness the activities those people practice. Now this will attract tourism.
One of the things that I think that we can do is bring out enlightenment in our villages and ensure that most of all these cultural things are brought into limelight, so that at the end of the day, people that are not in that environment can be able to see it and appreciate it, then they will not convert it to tourism.
Because of the fact that we have rich cultural diversities across the country, you see many people around the world will want to come and visit us and see what is in our culture. Different things, the beauty of our culture, the richness of our culture, the fact that our culture is unique.
You appreciate your culture, foreigners can come in to see what you are doing. And so they spend money in your country. Obviously, it is an avenue for a government to generate revenue through cultural activities.
All right, we're back in the studio, and our guests are still here with us. Chairman, Cross River State Carnival Commission, Gabe Onna, and Managing Director, Diplomat Travel and Tourism Agency, and board member of the Nigerian Association of Travel Agents, NANTA, in person of Akko Otobo. Mr. Akko, you heard some of the comments from members of the public there.
Sure.
I could see from the side of my eye that the two of you were nodding in appreciation of what many of them were saying. So how would you assess their thoughts there?
Yes, their comment and observation are quite right to what is really happening in the society. Like one of the commentators rightly talked about the way culture has been belittled, undermined in the villages and our societies, which again has to do with our wrong educational phenomenon. Because a lot of the that has killed culture in this country is our education. A lot of people think once they're educated and they are gone to the city, even some of the things they are skillful that they used to do as youths in the villages, they no longer do it. Just like, basically education and religion have actually contributed negatively to the development and upliftment of the cultural sustenance and development of this country. Whereas culture has played a very strong role, not only economically but socially. Do you know that when the military overthrew Gowon in 1975, they didn't have good image, but they quickly used culture in a festival, and Nigerian festival, 1977.
Yes.
To not only to bring Nigeria, all the various communities Nigerian together, but also took Nigeria into the limelight because it was a real cultural festival that was built with the dwindling and dead as theater in Lagos now. Day after that, we do not know the value of that. But do you know that that changed the scope and the image of Nigeria at that time? Nobody saw that it was military rule again. We are looking at the relevance and the exhibition and the display of the cultural facets of Nigeria. But unfortunately, as we are saying, you know, if you go to the villages, even these days, when they even showcase, it is only maybe when politician wants to do something in the village or the other, or when somebody is sponsoring an event, then they will go and display, and they tell you it is culture. But day after that, you go there, you will not say anything. But basically, like as I said at the beginning, cultural events and culture, artifacts and artists in those days was a strong instrument of bringing two villages together, or bringing families together. In fact, a lot of our mothers and fathers got married through cultural interaction. You know, either during dancing, during market, and so on. But that all are dying today. In fact, people disperse it and despise it completely. And that is a major challenge. Then bureaucratically, unfortunately, our governmental setup, you know, have not ever been serious. Every time the government comes in, the government goes out, you speak, telling about, you know, either involving a new master plan or doing this. But the real thing to be done on the ground, tell me, we have, you know, institutionalized NIFEST in Nigeria every year. That NIFEST that is established, that they move from state to state, you know, have few people trained and go to the state, do not have any relationship with the cultural structures of the villages and the states that they go. Okay?
All right.
In fact, there was a time I asked a director, a one-time director of Nigerian Council for Arts and Culture, come, this thing, every year you set up, you organize NIFEST. He said yes. Okay. Now you have started Abuja, you know, Carnival. Why is it done separately? You know, it's spikes of what the seriousness and the sincerity of the bureaucracy. So if we are going to talk of, you know, to blend and transform the cultural facets of Nigerian into what we are talking, then, for instance, the Council for Arts and Culture should make sure that that clique of 10, 20 people that they take with the state ministries. Every state have cultural setups should now go down to the villages and blend up. And then with what has started, fine, today we have Calabar Carnival. Then we can also have, turn it even into social cultural, like a league, where from the beginning at the setting down of the year, all the states have a competition, clicks up at the national level.
All right, let me bring Gabe back in here. Let's talk about the film and creative industry. How have they been able to create an image for Nigeria internationally?
Truly, Nollywood, as we call it, has been one of our best foot forward. I keep saying this. Whenever I'm marketing Carnival Calabar, I said, at the risk of being misunderstood, Carnival Calabar comes after Nollywood. They've taken us everywhere. They've taken us to the Caribbean, to the Americas, to Europe and all that. And it started like a joke, and because the real trouble in putting out that image we see on the screen is behind the scenes. The lighting challenges, the synoptic content, and the technicalities involved, and how much help they are getting. But I tell you, in recent times, government has taken great cue in acknowledging and appreciating the efforts of these wonderful creative minds. Today, I see a few of our Nollywood actresses and actors, being named as possible Grammy winners, or being mentioned as nominees, and I think this is an impetus to the effort of this subsector. But remember, I said that as a private sector initiative, and this is where we keep saying that government must continue to play that enabling role. And I've seen this, that in recent times, government has become very proactive in encouraging them through even the back of industry, creating low-hanging fruits and funding for this sector. But Nollywood has tried. They've taken our culture out there, even though they went back real on memory lane. I'm not one of those who would yield to the blood culture and the witchcraft culture. But truly, that's where we are coming from. And we must continue to ensure that we ensure that our young ones, our children, don't forget that this was actually where we started from. And again, I've been saying, if we are not careful, in the next few years, we'll be taking the kids to the zoo to see what a goat or chicken look like. Our kids no more are interacting with where they come from. We all come from a place. You cannot run away from where you come from. And this is the missing link Mr. Otobo is talking about. Is work in progress for me.
Absolutely. All right, Mr. Otobo, let's give you the final word briefly. What would you like to see more improvements on taking this sector forward for the benefits of the Nigerian economy?
Yeah, like as I said, what we need is the designated government sector, the bureaucracy, the ministry, and then the council should sit down and blend, create a structure whereby the cultural facets, like for instance, when they say we have cultural activities all over, but then these cultural activities do not have defined calendar. So where they come back into it with the establishment of the Council for Arts and Culture, which is, let me say, it's a replica of National Sports Football Council, NFA Council. With that structure alone, they should now take over and make sure that they create an organization yearly that will make that competition will come from the states with prizes, and then at the state level, just like we have football structure, let's have something like a cultural promotional activity.
Absolutely.
And then blend it up.
Absolutely.
And then once it becomes a yearly competition, and then also
it will become ingrained.
It will become, and also it will not just be something educative. It will bring the villagers into play. And then when we are talking, let it not be limited to just one-sided aspect of dancing. When we're talking about culture, we're talking of arts and craft. When we're talking about culture, we're talking about our dressing, we're talking about our way of life and everything.
All right, Ako Otobo, thank you very much for your insight and expertise on this topic of promoting Nigerian culture for the economic benefits of Nigeria. Thanks, and also thanks to Gabe Onna. Thank you for your insights as well on this very interesting topic, and there's no doubt things will improve significantly going forward for the country.
Thank you very much.
All right, and to our esteemed viewer, we thank you for always keeping this date with us. Do join us same time every weekday at 7:30 p.m. Our YouTube address, www.youtube.com/NTNews24hub, is where you can catch this or any other episode of the program. I am Dennis, and thanks for watching.